Recently, we have been all about talking about new characters, and we've been so obsessed with that we figured it was time to remind you of some of the originals that might have inspired them. Today we'll be looking at some of these characters, some of the oldest caped crusaders and oldest non-caped crusaders around, as we count down the top 10 oldest superheroes. They are old, so old, but not in age, because no one really ages in comic books. And we are going way back to find them, so strap in and get ready to do some time travel as we turn back the clock. And if you love time jumping with me here at Top 10 Nerd, why not click that subscribe so you never miss another timey-wimey old/newest/ time traveling list. Do it. Tap it. I dare you. And remember to stick around till the end of this list where I will have some bonus content coming your way. Alright, let's get counting. Number 10. Black Panther. The leader of Wakanda made his first comic book debut appearance in Fantastic Four issue 52 in 1966. He is often credited with being the first black superhero to appear in comics. The only sad thing is that it took us that long to get one. The 60s! Such a long time in comics, so long. He was created by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby. The first story involving him in the pages of Fantastic Four Volume 1 are pretty hilarious and great. If you haven't read them, you kind of should. They're interesting. Black Panther invites the Fantastic Four to Wakanda. Naive as they are, they accept. But what they don't know is that Black Panther longs to fight them. Of course, while the comic originally seems to be spinning Black Panther as a villain, it is later revealed that he only wanted to test them, and the fighting was merely to prove their merit as he needs their help. In the next issue, issue 53, we learn more about his backstory and why he has sought out the Fantastic Four. We are also introduced even more to the land of Wakanda with its unique combination of new age tech and tradition, old and new. So there you have it. Number 9. Green Lantern. Before Hal Jordan or Guy Gardner, there was Alan Scott. He was the first Green Lantern and was created by Martin Odell, making his comic book debut in All-American Comics issue 16. When this first Green Lantern made his appearance, he probably seemed to be pretty cool, I'm sure. This was way back when the Green Lantern was still an actual lantern, by the way. It's just this lantern he was carrying around. But in retrospect, Alan Scott is known as being one of the silliest Green Lanterns, because he has one of the strangest weaknesses in comic book history. Wood. While there definitely wouldn't be openly gay superheroes for some time yet since he was introduced in 1940, I like to think the fact that he is helpless against wood might pose a double or symbolic meaning. I'll just let you ponder what you will about that. But that's just me. Either way, the weakness is a hilarious one to see in comics, just villains beating him with wooden clubs and baseball bats, and it would later be fully explained and made semi-logical later on, but still, it's ridiculous. And I love it. Number 8. Lone Ranger. The Lone Ranger originally started appearing in a comic strip and would later receive his own comic book series in 1948, which went for over 100 issues. Before he was even in comics though, Lone Ranger was a superhero recognized for his radio show, which debuted in the early 1930s. The first few comics consist of compilations of his comic strips, but new stories began with Lone Ranger starting with issue 38, which saw Paul S. Newman writing and Tom Gill on art. The Lone Ranger was known as a mysterious masked Texan Ranger who would fight bandits and outlaws in the Wild West of America, with his loyal pal Tonto and his trusty steed Silver. Hi-ho Silver away! Number 7. Tonto. You didn't think I was going to talk about Lone Ranger and just leave Tonto out of this list, did you? Tonto was originally shown as Lone Ranger's native partner and was part of the Comanche tribe originally. Some may think of him as just a sidekick, but as time progressed his character tended to be more presented as an equal and partner to the Lone Ranger rather than just a sidekick. He got his own comic book spin-off series in the 50s titled The Lone Ranger's Companion Tonto, and was often depicted as being witty and sarcastic, even going on to mock other less favorable portrayals of himself in pop culture that made him seem more savage. I like when heroic characters are self-aware and sassy like that. I feel it. Deadpool, She-Hulk, Tonto. Keep being sassy, keep being witty. Number 6. Superman. Superman is that hero that you usually think of when someone asks who the oldest superhero is during a trivia night. And honestly, I'm sure it's an acceptable answer by most trivia standards. But not here. Not here. Here we go further. Superman is widely thought of as being one of the oldest, the original American comic book superhero. But seeing as how he is number 6 on this list, I think us mega nerds would likely know otherwise. Still, he came out in 1938 and first debuted in Action Comics number 1. And honestly, if you read his original appearance, it's easy to see what all the hullabaloo is about. It's basically a piece created to show off and introduce just how unstoppable Superman is. In fact, Superman would continue to be presented as near invincible until the 80s, acquiring more and more powers with each appearance. And then we had to fix that. We had to tweak that because it's too much power. Superman was created by Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster. Number 5. SHEENA. Queen of the Jungle. You might be wondering just where Wonder Woman is on this list, but SHEENA actually predates Wonder Woman, and her own self-titled series even predates Wonder Woman's by a few months. She was originally published by Fiction Comics and was known as SHEENA, Queen of the Jungle. Most 1930s Queen of the Jungle I have ever seen, but yet. SHEENA's abilities included super strength and agility, and the ability to communicate with animals. She made her first appearance in WAG Comics issue number 1, and her self-titled series came out in early 1942, just a few months before Wonder Woman's. Only a few months, so close, so close! Number 4. KA-ZAR. KA-ZAR is known as being one of the first Marvel superheroes. Can you guess who the other one is? Let me know in the comments. But there are actually 2 KA-ZARs. The one I'm referring to here is David Rand. He appeared in Marvel before they were even known as Marvel back when they were Timely Comics in 1936. KA-ZAR shared many similarities with Tarzan and was very passionate about protecting the surrounding wildlife and animals where he grew up. He also fought against Germany with the Allies in World War II, fun fact. In fact, the last story we have of him shows him setting out to provide more wartime aid. The other KA-ZAR we would meet later in the 60s was known as Kevin Reginald, and was the son of the man who discovered Savage Land. Both KA-ZARs also appear to be English. They had an English heritage anyways. Interesting. Number 3. The Phantom. The Phantom originated in comic strip form, where so many superheroes were originally born. He was created by Lee Falk. The Phantom actually introduced the idea of a costumed adventurer to American comic books. Before that, we didn't really have people in like tight spandex running around. While the Phantom, aka Kit Walker, found popularity in comic strips in the US, his comics didn't quite shine so bright. Internationally, however, the character seemed to do much better, becoming a hit in Australia, Sweden, and Papua New Guinea. He also was originally from a fictional country in Africa, so no wonder he did well in Papua New Guinea. I feel like they were like, I can see some similarities here. Number 2. Buck Rogers. Buck Rogers first appeared in a comic strip. He is a hero who comes from a world of sci-fi set in the future of the 2400s. 24,000s? 2400s, yeah, 2400s. Depending on what medium or comic you're reading, the last 2 digits of that year are also apt to change for his story. He made his comic strip debut as Buck, but the character was originally named Anthony Rogers in the novel that inspired the comics, Armageddon 2419 AD, written by Philip Francis Nolan. The story follows the adventures of a young man who is frozen for almost 500 years in suspended animation before waking up in the future and rediscovering the world he once knew, in a time that he is less familiar with. Honestly, if you aren't aware of Buck Rogers, but you are a fan of cosmic superheroes or sci-fi and weird space adventures, I highly recommend you check this classic out. Also, if you just like some time travel-y stuff. Who doesn't like time travel-y stuff? Everyone is like me, I hate it, but there's a few of us I know that like it. Number 1. Spring-Heeled Jack. Spring-Heeled Jack was originally a character in English folklore and urban legends. His being was reportedly cited all over Great Britain in the 1830s, and the stories involving him inspired writers to use him as a character in both a play and in Penny Dreadful novels, which were short serials, the original comic books really of the time. He has since seen other comic book series dedicated to him as time has progressed. Spring-Heeled Jack was originally described as a gentlemanly looking demon, and later described as looking like the devil himself, complete with horns. He was often known for breathing fire. Whoa, scary stuff. While his character was originally posed as a villain, he later developed into a misunderstood hero, a nobleman who sought to steal from the rich and give to the poor, complete with his own gadgets to help him perform his noble feats. Kinda like Robin Hood meets Batman. It's kinda what he was doing. Meets a guy that looks like a demon. Just combine all those, you got Spring-Heeled Jack. Thank you so much for watching, Nerd Squad. I hope you enjoyed this list and learned lots from it. It's so awesome to see how far character development and creation has come in comics since the early 1900s. Just think, it has been over 100 years of comics. That is a long time. What are some of your favorite of the older comic series? Who is your favorite oldest superhero team? Would you like to learn about some of, I don't know, the oldest supervillains? Let us know in the comments below. And speaking of comments, it's time to turn to some comments from one of our latest videos, Top 10 Newest Mutants Part 3. Carl Charleston comments, "That sweater, I'm Jossum. I do love that shark sweater that I was wearing in that video. My mom got it for me a few Xmas ago and it remains one of my all-time favorite sweaters. Sharks are actually one of my favorite sea creatures, in case you didn't know that. Can you guess what my favorite land creature is? I bet you can't guess it. It's a weird one. You're not gonna be able to get it." Goatman says, "I love the new X-Men Academy X series. All the characters were awesome and I wish we got another book with the new X-Men kids." Who knows? Maybe we will. If not, at least we have all of the new Dawn of X stuff to look forward to, including Children of Adam, which is supposed to take heroes we know and love and kind of combine them with that fresh and new young squad vibe that we love so much. I'm super excited about it! And that's all the time we have for comments today. Be sure to comment below for a chance to have your thoughts and your feels shouted out in a future video. This has been Top 10 Nerd and I'm your host, Amanda McKnight reminding you to stay nerdy, YouTube. People aren't gonna even be able to handle my pants today, I feel like. I feel like that's gonna be a whole other thing, but okay, it's fine. Recently we have good start, good start. It's like this little hair that's in my face and it's very strange. There we go. It's better. It's like right in my field of vision. Links, 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 links. Okay, I don't like to wait for that. And in penny driver. Well, there definitely, sorry, I keep laughing about this idea of wood. Whenever I get sad about old comics, I just think of Alan Scott and how hilarious he is. That's all I have to say about that. It sounded like an advertisement. I'm like, now, coming up, next season, Lone Ranger. Comic book super. Welcome to the 30s. Everyone is white. Women can't do anything.